What is up, everyone? We are live with the very first debut episode of the Locked On Locks show, giving you all the latest previews of the NFL weeks. Today, we're going into NFL Week 2, obviously, giving you some prop bets, parlays, and talking some college football. Obviously, you can see it's your boy CP from CP New York Sports Pod, joined by my co-host Josh. Huge Colorado fan, huge game we're going to be talking about a little bit later coming up. What up, Josh? How are you?
Oh, I'm fantastic. Um, 2 hours away from kickoff, but we'll get into that later. Before we begin, I got to give you credit. This guy to my left, he's probably, 95% of this production is, his doing. So I want everybody to give him props. I'm just here so I don't get fined. But thank you for having me. And this is gonna be a weekly thing. It's not a one-time thing. We're gonna be rocking and rolling all season. So let's get it.
Exactly. Just in
Sports
time.
talk.
I know we missed week one. We'll get into your week one bets as well because we have that propped up. I didn't get a chance to do my full slate of week one bets, but we'll get into yours. We'll get into the NFL week two slate. We're going to get into it all today on this. Before we get into that, follow my guy Josh on X. He is on X. He's a Denver Broncos fan. DJ Denver Josh. Follow his at. Make sure you follow him over there. Keep up with him. Make sure you're following me on X and Instagram. And guys, I want to preface this. If I sound snuffly, I am under the weather, but the show must go on. So I'm gonna be drinking water. I got some tea next to me. I gotta get right. But I couldn't miss this show. I couldn't miss the show. I was too hype about it. So Locked On Locks, let's go. Hit that thumbs up, guys. Drop those comments. Whatever we're talking about, whatever prop bets we have, whatever predictions we have for the slate, drop your thoughts, opinions on the NFL Week 2 slate, and we'll get into some talking points. I can't wait for it. Subscribe to the channel, bottom right-hand corner as you're watching this video. And you know what? Let's just get right into it. We have a full slate today, and we're going to be talking about it all. So, Josh, let's start off. We're going to go from top to bottom. Obviously, the books don't really have any sort of good odds out for the Monday night bets when we were putting this together. So we're going to start off with a Sunday slate and then just sort of give our opinions on the predictions for the Monday slate. Start us off with the 1 p.m., then we'll go down. We're going to put the prop bets that we have up as we go for each game, and then we'll have an aggregated list for you all. And I said, always bet responsibly. This is what we're rolling with for this week, and I can't wait to produce this content, more of this content, because honestly, I don't usually bet, to be honest with you. I haven't bet since the last NFL season. If there's any sport that I do bet, it is the NFL. And that's pretty much what I'm limited to. So, Josh, take it away. Ravens at Bengals. Who you got? Obviously, we both got the Bengals. Why? And then let's get into some bets.
Yeah, so obviously Bengals going to Cleveland last week, and the weather was terrible. Burrow went 14 for 31 for 82 yards. Not sure the last time he threw under 100. Maybe you could grant it to him not playing in the preseason, but I mean, you can do that. But it's also that weather, and the game script was just not. It was just not in their favor. But they're in a perfect bounce back opportunity, in my opinion. You got the Ravens coming in. Ravens didn't look good either. I don't think Lamar threw a touchdown. At least he definitely didn't get two. Their O-line was looking sus. Will Anderson was getting through. He had a sack and a forced fumble. If they get Mark Andrews back, that helps a lot, especially with J.K. Dobbins getting out with the Achilles. Justice Hill had like 1.5 yards per carry last game. So if you have Andrews in, he can definitely block. So you're going to have a lot of more 11 personnel. And they only used it 48% last week, which is like 28th NFL, because they didn't have him. And Isaiah likely can't block. But this is definitely, in my opinion, like a Jamar Chase game. I don't think the Bengals targeted him obviously last week, but they kind of got in their own head that game. The weather was bad. They could never just get in a groove, and I think that's going to change this week for sure. He's going to get a lot of quick slants, some wide receiver screens, obviously his deep shots. And I think that's how they're going to roll. I don't think with that J.K. Dobbins losses, I think that's just too big, bro.
No,
But
I agree. And like you said, the Ravens didn't look too great last week anyways. They were playing a Texans team that's led by obviously CJ Stroud, rookie, but Lamar didn't look at, his best. And obviously we saw what the Bengals did last week. I think that was a fluke game. Weather, was definitely a factor. Joe Burrow got pulled early. I mean, obviously, you know that they weren't coming back and they were trying to protect the richest quarterback in the league now with his new deal. But no, I definitely agree with you. I think the Bengals um definitely I think that they got what it takes, obviously, to make a deep run this year. Their O line also is just, it is what it is, and they need to get Joe Burrow some help on that O line. But I think that he's finally going to be able to utilize his weapons this game. I think T. Higgins is going to get more involved. T. Higgins was a ghost pretty much last week. And I didn't use him for my prop bet today for this game, but I know you got Jamar Chase, so you like Jamar Chase on your prop bet, and I know you said why, but do you have any other sort of like reasoning why Jamar Chase and not maybe T. Higgins is part of your prop bet?
I mean, at the end of the day, to me, like a lot of people with their prop bets, they go too far into like analytics and stuff, and like it's really sometimes it's not that deep. Sometimes you just look at the flow of the game, what you think the flow of the game is going to be. You look at both teams. Obviously, they have Marlon Humphrey, but they're going to move Jamar around the field like they did with the Raiders did with Devontae last week. He was trying to get away from PS2, and he had a hard time doing it, but he did it on some plays. And I think it's a kind of like a Stephon Diggs situation. Like Stephon Diggs is in a bounce back situation in this coming week, and like I just think the Bengals are going to force feed Jamar. Obviously, T. Higgins is probably going to. I mean, he's going to eat as well, but the Bengals know that it's essentially a must-win game, being a divisional game, and you know if you don't get Jamar Chase involved, what are you doing? And his last two games against the Ravens, dating back to last year, he went 8 for 86 and 9 for 84, and he's sitting at 79.5, and they're at home
Yeah.
with nice
No, I
weather. Give
agree
me
with
that.
you. Yeah, I agree with you. I'm going Zay Flowers on the other side. I'm going to go over 3.5 receptions for Zay Flowers. Zay Flowers had a heck of a week in week one. He got, I believe I saw him get 8 receptions. Was it
10
10?
targets. 10 targets. 10
10
targets.
targets, I think it
Yeah,
was 8
8.
receptions. He was
I think
up there in
8.
receptions. But yeah, I'm going over 3.5. I was surprised they had him at 3.5. Obviously, the value is what it is at minus 158. But give me Zay Flowers again for receptions at the very minimum. I think you'll see Odell Beckham Jr. involved a little bit more, but I like Zay Flowers. But let's get into the next couple slates here as well. Don't want to spend too much time on all these games. We can emphasize the ones that we definitely don't agree on, but let's go into the Seahawks Lions. This is an interesting matchup to me. This is really interesting because I think the Seahawks had a terrible week last week, obviously, getting routed by the Rams. The Lions are no joke. We both like the Lions in this matchup, obviously, but what are you watching for in this game, X's and O's wise? Why do you like the Lions? And obviously, we'll get into our prop bets here as well.
Yeah, so first of all, the Seattle gave up 100 yards to Tutu Atwell, and let me see here. Hmm. Puka Nakua. I've never heard. Obviously, he's got talent clearly. But you got Amon-Ra St. Brown on the other side, who just toasted the Chiefs up last week.
Yep. Yep.
And uh, in addition to what my bet's going to be, I love the over in this game. Um, Detroit obviously has a susceptible defense as well. But I'm going towards David Montgomery. Seattle gave up 2 touchdowns to Kyron Williams last week, who does not have a good yard per carry either. Neither does David Montgomery, but David Montgomery is more talented in my opinion. And Amon Ra and other factors like pass interferences are going to set up David Montgomery for like a 5-yard touchdown. Like I almost had that as my lock.
Okay, so I know that we both hit on a David Montgomery touchdown anytime TD last week, obviously against the Chiefs. You're going David Montgomery again. I'm going a little bit of a different route than you. I'm going the other running back, Jahmyr Gibbs, over 42 and a half rushing yards. I think that the Lions really got scrutinized last week for their lack of utilization of Jahmyr Gibbs. Obviously, they took him. It was sort of a surprise pick, at least in my opinion. The talent was there, obviously, but I think that I didn't really see him going to the Lions. You look at the David Montgomery signing as well when they let Jamal Williams go. The running back sort of carousel now in Detroit is going to be one to monitor, but I like Jahmyr Gibbs over 42.5 at -114. Obviously, you're taking the anytime TD for David Montgomery. It should be a closer game than we think. I think the spread is at -4.5 in the Lions' favor. I'm not comfortable with allowing the Lions to cover that spread. I do think the Lions win ultimately, like you see on your screen, but I think it's to be a closer game than people really think. So moving on, Colts and Texans. This should be an interesting matchup here. You got two rookie quarterbacks. We have a little bit of a different opinion here. You got the Texans, I got the Colts. I like what the Colts showed last week against the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think they showed grit. I think Anthony Richardson, and we'll get into our prop bets here in a second. I'll start off with this game. Anthony Richardson 100% impressed me in week one. Like he was one of the guys I was like, you do not sleep on Anthony Richardson. Everyone was talking about, obviously, you got Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, and they were talking about Will Levis. I'm like, wait, hold on. There's a guy named Anthony Richardson who's super talented out of Florida, and you're just going to sort of ignore him in these conversations. Went out there week one, showed exactly what he's all about. Give me Anthony Richardson over 1.5 pass TDs on that Houston Texans defense for plus money at 168. Josh, what you got?
Yeah, that's a good pick. First of all, I made this pick before I heard CJ Stroud was questionable. If CJ Stroud does not play this game, I don't got it. I don't got him. But this is under the assumption he plays. I'm looking at the defense, like that defensive line ate Baltimore up. Houston obviously wasn't even close to covering the spread, but if you actually watch the game, they were getting constant pressure. And you could say that no one's really talking about. I don't think anybody's talking about the Ravens O line as this minuscule O line. I think they got a respectable unit. I think I could be wrong, but with a rookie quarterback, I know he looked decent last game, but that rushing touchdown definitely helped inflate the stats. I mean, God, he threw for 50 more yards than Russ. I mean, good lord. Um, Going into like my bet, I got Nico Collins over 49 and a half. I think he had, let me look at my notes. So I'm all about
He
like
had a great
target
game.
share. I don't think target share is a fluke thing. Um, I'm about to contradict what I'm about to say in or actually the game after this, but I don't think there's a thing like you can bounce back without having a good amount of targets. Like just because, you think a guy's going to bounce back, the fact is he had 2 targets last week. You know what I mean? But in this case, Nico Collins had 11 targets, especially for a rookie quarterback. If you're a rookie quarterback's guy, I'm taking that all day. And on top of the matchup, I mean, I can't name. They just gave up what a buck 20 and a tutty to Calvin Ridley last week. I mean, obviously Nico Collins isn't even in that realm, but I can't name a single cornerback they have.
No, I agree. But the reason why I took the Colts was because that DeForest Buckner was eating the Jaguars up last week.
Yeah.
So I think that is I think that these two teams have similar strengths. Obviously, you talk about the two rookie quarterbacks, but you talk about their front four. Not a bad group, right? On either side, they're getting constant pressure in week one against their respective opponents. So where I'm going with Anthony Richardson, he's been my guy even since we were doing the draft content. I know we made videos with some draft content early when I first started this YouTube channel. I was heavily in on Anthony Richardson. So give me the over 1.5 pass TDs, and you're in on Nico Collins. Nico Collins had a great game last week, so I don't doubt that bet at all. I just want to take that plus money for Anthony Richardson and ride that wave because I really don't think the Texans are going to be able to stop him, to be honest with you. Next game, this is actually surprising to me. The Buccaneers open up as favorites. I guess it shouldn't be surprising given the week one results of both of these teams, but we both like the Bears in the upset. Tell me your thoughts and opinions on Bears Buccaneers.
Yeah, I mean, this is just a classic bounce back opportunity for a team that looked lost on offense. Like Justin Fields, he's still getting out. This isn't like the same offense as last year. They got DJ Moore in here. Um, this game they're gonna go more of the quick pass game, whether it's a slant or a wide receiver screen, like you saw in the preseason. They need to get DJ Moore involved if they want a chance in this game. I don't care how much Justin Fields runs. Devin White is going to be an issue for Fields if he tries to escape the pocket. That guy's fast. So that Bucks secondary is very weak. Um, Justin Jefferson's obviously not human, but they still gave up a lot of yards to Jordan Addison, so they're definitely suspect there. Um, I love DJ Moore this week. So he had 2 targets last week, which is obviously literally contradicting what I just said. But he is a Buccaneer killer. Last year he had 6 for 113 and 7 for 69 against the Bucks as a Panther, and I think he knows how to pick apart that defense, and he's going to.
Oh, definitely. I think DJ Moore has a bounce back week. He obviously didn't get the amount of shares or targets like he just said, a little bit of contradictory with the whole Nico Collins situation in the previous game, but I'm going a little bit of a different route. Obviously, we both like the Bears. I'm surprised that even still that they're underdogs. I'm not really too big on Baker Mayfield. I think it was an impressive win for them, but I just don't think the Vikings are I think the Vikings are due for a rebuild, to be honest with you, but I'm not here to crap on the Vikings. I'm taking the Bears to cover the spread. I like the money line, but to have a safe prop bet for the viewers watching at home, take them at the plus 2.5 to cover the spread. It's minus 102. It's good value. But going on that wide receiver trail, I actually made two prop bets for this game because Darnell Mooney actually showed out last game. I know it was a rough game for the Bears in general, but I like Darnell Mooney, the obviously wide receiver too. DJ Moore is probably going to get more of the targets. Just if we had to, toss it up, but Darnell Mooney over 35.5 is good value for me as well at minus 114. So you can go either route. You can either take the spread for the Bears or take Mooney over in yardage. So there's a couple of ways that you can play it. Shout out our guy Xander in the chat. Vegas is in trouble, baby. What up, Xander? And we got Lonnie in the house too. What up, Lonnie? What up, Lonnie? Um, yeah, and we got some good matchups. Like I said, this game is one that I'm really excited about. I'm not gonna lie to you. This is the game that I was circling because I'm like, the Bears made some really good offseason additions, not only offensively with DJ Moore, but they added TJ Edwards and Tremaine Edwards, I believe, as well. For Buffalo, two linebackers, and the way that their defense sort of got picked apart by Jordan Love didn't sit right with me. So I'm sure it doesn't sit right with them. I know this is a team that really, had a little bit of a hype surrounding them. To be honest with you, going into another year of Justin Fields, he didn't look right himself last week. So I think they get it back on track and beat the Buccaneers. Chiefs and Jaguars, we're split on this as well, Josh. Tell me why you like the Jags over the Chiefs.
Yeah, so I think this Jags team is not only up and coming, but I think they're here, as Dion would put. Um, they faced a lot of adversity last week on the road in Indy. They overcame it. Last year's Jags, at least in the beginning of the season, they're not. I don't think they're overcoming that game. Calvin Ridley is obviously here. Um, Amon Raj has toasted that defense. Calvin Ridley is going to do the same. I don't care about Travis Kelce coming back. I don't care about Chris Jones coming back. They're going to come back in football shape. That's okay. Jaguars defense is good enough to keep them in that game. And I think it's going to be a shootout. And you could say, I'm picking the Jags because I don't like the Chiefs, but I think the Jags are the better overall team.
I agree with you. I think that it's going to be really interesting. Wouldn't it be a story if the Chiefs started off 0-2? That would be a huge story. The media would eat that up. So you're going Calvin Ridley over 72.5 yards. Obviously, at minus 114, Calvin Ridley had a great week last week. Don't blame me there. I'm going a different route. I think the Chiefs do bounce back. That's why I have them winning, and that's why my prop bet, I should say, is Pat Mahomes over 2.5 passing TDs. Last year against the Jaguars, he threw for 4 touchdowns, I believe, is what I heard on NFL Network, and I think that trend continues, especially with Travis Kelce suiting up this week. Give me Pat Mahomes over 2.5 passing TDs at plus money. Obviously, a little bit of a riskier side. I don't really like betting QBs anything over 1.5 passing TDs in the game, but this is Pat Mahomes we're talking about. So give me the 2.5 over 2.5 there. Moving on, Atlanta and Green Bay. Green Bay coming out the gates hot. Obviously, losing Rodgers, Jordan Love steps in. They rout the Bears. Falcons also did beat a Bryce Young led Panthers squad. Who you like in the game, why, and what's your bet?
Yeah, I got Packers. Desmond Ritter is literally the Falcons quarterback. Not much to say there. Their leading receiver got, or their best receiver had one target last game. This game's gonna come down to the turnover battle. Who creates more turnovers? I didn't watch much of the Packers game, but Atlanta losing 24-10 again, or no, Atlanta won right last week.
Yeah, Atlanta won 24-10.
Yeah, I don't care about it. That Jair Alexander is gonna have Drake London in prison. Here you go with my prop bet. Drake London had one target last week, for a reason, whether it's because he's not open or because he's trash. Um, so Jair just locked up DJ Moore. He had 2 for 25 against Jair,
Yep.
and so
Yeah, that
he's
was a
not to
great
be
game.
messed with. And but yeah, defensively for both teams, turnover battle. I guarantee that's what it comes down to because they're pretty even.
Yeah. I agree. Drake London. Josh is going Drake London under 43.5. I think that's a great bet, especially with Jair Alexander, like you said. I'm going Bijan Robinson over 18.5 receiving yards. I think he had a nice little debut last week against the Panthers. I think he found the end zone, if I'm not mistaken, but he had 27 yards receiving as well last week. I like him at over 18.5. I have a different Falcons bet. I think believe in my parlay if I'm not mistaken, but I had a different Falcons bet that I was willing to take. I'm liking Bijan Robinson in this game though. I was gonna take Romeo Dobbs. Romeo Dobbs is in my parlay. You guys will see later. We have a bonus parlay for you all that are watching. But give me Bijan Robinson over 18.5 receiving yards in this game. Obviously, we both like the Packers. I was really surprised what the Packers did to the Bears last week. Romeo Dobbs, 2 touchdowns. I'm a big fan of Romeo Dobbs. We'll see if Christian Watson suits up this week. I know he's nursing a hamstring injury, if I'm not mistaken, but I like the Packers in this game. But Desmond Ritter, I don't. What I saw a stat out there that he was like 20 something and 0 and going back to his college days. Did he lose a game in Cincinnati? I'm not sure
I
if he
think I heard
did.
about that too, but I don't know.
I'm not sure if he did, but we'll monitor. Maybe this is the first week that Desmond Ritter loses since his college days. Obviously, getting his week 1 win against the Panthers last week. Next game, Raiders and Bills. We both have the Bills. Give me your analysis on this. Did the Bills bounce back? Obviously, we both think so. At home against the Raiders. What's the deal with this game?
Yeah, so obviously the Bills lost in heartbreaking fashion last week. They match up well against the Raiders. Um, you're gonna see Diggs bounce back. You're gonna see James Cook running the ball. The Broncos played the Raiders last week. They had a little trouble running the ball. But for the Bills, you're gonna have to do what the Broncos didn't, and that is stay away from Max Crosby. You don't want to see any tosses to his side. You don't want to see any QB rollouts to his side. You want to contain him. You can double him too. They have nobody else on that D line besides maybe a
That guy's
guy.
built different.
Um, that secondary is sus. The Broncos just didn't have enough, weapons last week. But the Broncos did a really good job of containing Josh Jacobs. I don't think the Bills are going to do that, especially after what Brees Hall did to them. That should have been classified as murder. Um, Josh Jacobs over 69 and a half rushing yards. He's going to get fed, and he's going to get fed often. They're going to have Devontae. He's going to eat, he's going to do his thing, but I think Jacobs is going to have to be developed here because it's going to be a ground and pound game for them if they want to even cover that spread.
Yeah, I agree with you. The Bills definitely are going to feed James Cook early and often, I think, as well. But Stephon Diggs, I mean, he's inevitable, to be honest with you. He got a touchdown, obviously, last week against the Jets. Don't really matter who's guarding Stephon Diggs. I want to see how that dynamic with Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen works out. Obviously, when Josh Allen made a couple mistakes with the turnovers, Stephon Diggs was sort of looked like he was just walking over to Josh Allen and telling him to be a little bit smarter. And I know that Stephon Diggs has been a little bit outspoken on his time in Buffalo. However you want to play it. I don't know what his situation is in Buffalo. I'm not sure if he's happy there. It's all speculation. He came out with a tweet saying that he was and he's going to be a Bill for whatever. But give me Stephon Diggs anytime TD. Plus 105. Anytime you get Stephon Diggs at plus money for a touchdown, you got to take it, to be honest with you. So I'm not sure of any cornerbacks on the Raiders roster that can really guard Stephon Diggs. I think Josh Allen has a bounce back game as well. Give me Stephon Diggs anytime TD. I was almost going to put this as my lock. I really wanted to, but I'll just leave it at that right now. My prop bet is plus 105 for Stephon Diggs anytime TD. Shout out Matt in the chat. Christian McCaffrey dropping 50 on the Rams, lock it in. And Lonnie says, wonder what Terry did to Jair Alexander with a little smirk face.
I
So,
wonder what Terry's
um,
gonna do to Pat Surtain. I really wonder. I do.
Um, yeah, that's gonna be. We're gonna get into that game here in a second because we obviously are split on that. I got the Commanders winning that game, but let's move on to Chargers Titans. Let me know who you like in this game. I don't see the Titans having any shot in this game. That's not the way that Ryan Tannehill looks. So we both got the Chargers.
So the only shot they have is if Derrick Henry, takes over,
Mhm.
which I would give about, at least a 35% chance of happening. But the Chargers coming off that loss at home, they're going to be pissed off. The Titans, I think D-Hop I heard he's questionable, maybe doubtful at this point. Titans going to be super one-dimensional. All it's going to take is for the Chargers to get a one or two explosive plays, get up by 7-10 points, and the Titans are going to be cooked chicken. If the only way the Titans can win this game is if they get a early lead and they either hang on to it or they rely on their D line. Their D line is going to stop Joshua because Austin Eckler's out.
Yep.
Joshua Kelly, he's going to get his like 18, 20, 22 carries, but he's probably going to go like 20 for like 58 or 62 or something because that Titans D line is nasty. That D line's their only hope. But I expect Keenan Allen to eat. I have him as last year against Tennessee. He went 8 for 86, and obviously, like I've been going back to last year for a couple of these bets, but like a lot of those times, the defenses are the same or similar that he's playing, like dating back to last year. So I don't think the Titans lost many players on defense. Um, so Keenan, he's still a top 5 route runner in the league. At the end of the day, route running is going to win out. Um, and this Chargers without Eckler, they're gonna pass. They're gonna pass the ball.
Yeah, I
That's it.
agree with you. I'm actually curious how they're going to utilize Joshua Kelly. I know that he was a waiver wire pickup on a lot of fantasy, in a lot of fantasy leagues. Honestly, I wanted to as well, just because I have Eckler and then my RB2 in my 14-man league is Cam Akers, and I don't really trust Cam Akers. It was just sort of who I had to take at that point in time. But I missed out on Joshua Kelly, so that's gonna be interesting. I like the Chargers overall in this game. They're at two and a. I forgot what the regular spread's
It's
at, but I
it's
took
three and a
minus
half.
2.5. Is it 3.5? Okay, I,
Yeah.
I always I don't like 3.5 spreads when they come out with that line, so I always opt for a safer option if the value's still there. At minus 125 for a alt spread of minus 2.5, I'll take that all day for the Chargers. Obviously, they lost in a shootout to Miami last week, as you said, but I don't think the Titans got it in them, to be honest with you, on either side of the ball. Titans did not look good against the Saints, and the Saints didn't look good either. That was probably the worst game of last week, and it was brutal for me to watch the Saints versus Titans last week. Ryan Tannehill looked awful. Give me the Chargers covering this alt spread at minus 125. I would even be comfortable putting two units on this, to be honest with you, because I just don't see a way that the Chargers lose this game, even without Austin Eckler. Moving on, 49ers at Rams. I'd be hard pressed to find anybody to say that the Rams are going to win this game. Obviously, we both have the Niners. Get into the some prop bets. We both have the spread for our prop bets. You have an alt spread. You are comfortable with this minus 9.5, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, 49ers went into Acrisure Stadium last week and laid a massive just dookie right on the Steelers' face. And I expect the same amount, if not a larger dookie, right onto the Rams after the Rams. The Rams are up here right now. They're feeling good. They're feeling good, but
Yeah.
they're about to come back to reality. I went the alt spread. I think they win by 15 plus.
Oof.
Um, I
Wow, that's
wanted
bold.
to go. I wanted to go with Debo as my prop bet because I think he's gonna eat.
Yeah.
I mean McCaffrey's gonna get. I don't know about 50 points, Matt, but I mean McCaffrey's gonna get his. Yeah, I think that Rams offense is fluky, man. I don't trust that. I don't trust
Yep.
it against the 49ers defense. I just don't see that happening. Bosa's gonna Bosa's gonna get 1 or 2 sacks, and that game flow is gonna that game flow is gonna change in a snap of a finger. And the thing is, if the Rams are up, they're not gonna have much of a running back to rely on. Whether as opposed to if the 49ers get a lead, like who do you trust to hold the lead? 49ers or Rams based off just their running back room?
No, I mean, yeah, that's evident. That is evident. Um, No, I agree with you. The 49ers are a force to be reckoned with. The Giants are going to see them in week 3 on a short week, Thursday Night Football next week. That's going to be really ugly. I'm not looking forward to that game. To be honest with you, with how our O-line's shaping up. I went the safer route. I was just going to take the -7 spread from FanDuel at -110. I think that this is another 2-unit play. I like the Chargers and the 49ers for 2 units covering the spread. -7 for the 49ers. They're definitely going to cover. I think it's going to be more, but I'm always wary about going into the -9.5s plus on there. So definitely understand where you're coming from, though. They just routed the Steelers. Brock Purdy looked fantastic. Defense Bosa played a lot of snaps that people were not anticipating him to play that much in week 1. So the 49ers will definitely cover the spread in one way or another. So I think that's what we're both kind of getting at there. Um, Moving on, Giants and Cardinals here. Um, yeah, there's going to be a lot of bias here. I got the Giants winning this. I got us coming back from a brutal week 1 against the Cowboys. If you haven't watched my streams or my videos on the Feeling Blue podcast, my boy Aaron from the TMS pod, we have a Feeling Blue pod. We held a therapy session with our boy Zane Belt guy last week after that route. It hurt my soul to see that on Sunday Night Football at MetLife. That hurt my soul. So I think Giants bounce back. I think we win this game. Cardinals got a couple key defensive guys out. I'm not sure Buda Baker's playing either. I like our X factor. I like Saquon in this game. He's going to be in our later parlay, my later parlay at least, for a touchdown. You'll see that. But give me Darren Waller over 45.5 reception yards, receiving yards at -114. I really do think that Jones and the Giants bounce back this week. Josh, what do you got?
So literally any team besides the Cardinals here, I'm picking the opposite team in a second. But you're lucky. You guys are lucky you're playing the Cardinals. And even when you're playing the Cardinals, I was still like, I don't know. I don't think the Giants cover the spread. So here's why. I don't know what it is, but there's a reason I didn't draft Saquon this year, and it's because I don't trust how he's utilized. And I've said it. I've been pounding this
I've said
drum
it a
to you,
lot.
Chris, for so long, dating back to
Yeah.
when we were in high school, man. Well, when I
Hmm.
was. And I saw last week. You have a beautiful first, not a beautiful, a decent first drive, right? Saquon got a couple carries. You got down to like their 30, right? I forgot. Oh, block field goal. Never mind. Um, and it's like, okay, you're down 7-0. Let's get back on the field and let's get going. Nope. Let's just
No.
drop back 2-3 times. Let Daniel Jones get eaten up by Micah Parsons. So what I'm relying on for this game, I'm gonna get to the Cardinals in a second because I'm just so passionate about this, man. If I don't see Saquon mother freaking Barkley getting at least 2 screen passes, 2 pitches, and 3 stretches throughout this entire game, I'm gonna lose my mind. And I'm not even a Giants fan. I just hate seeing like a player of that caliber go to waste. And he's
Yep.
going to waste. I don't care about his stats last year. He's going to waste. Now, having said that, my bet, if we can get it on here, James Conner. James Conner is basically David Montgomery. They're both inevitable, bro. They're both inevitable to score a tutty. All right. Here's what's gonna happen. And you're gonna clip this and post it on Sunday afternoon at like 5:57 when it happens.
If you hit on the head, I'm gonna clip it.
Daniel Jones is gonna get the snap. Someone's coming free. Fumble on their own 10. James Conner, next player to tutty. Boom. That's the only way this happens, honestly. Like, I don't see how the Cardinals can, consistently drive down the field. It's gonna take a turnover for this bet to hit, and I'm so confident that's gonna happen.
All right, we'll see. I mean, if that O line is definitely plausible, and then Andrew Thomas, you got as a question mark with the hamstring injury. He's going to see what happens on the in the warm ups if he's suiting up or not. So that's definitely plausible. I'm not taking anything away. Honestly, I don't even like. I know the Giants probably are going to win this game, but if they lose, I would not be shocked with the way Week 1 ended up because that right side of our O line, Glanowski and Evan Neal, are just that bad, and I need to see some sort of progression in this week, or else we're in trouble. That's flat out. Shout out Aaron, my co-host. Rams are cheeks, he says. Yeah, shout out you, Aaron. I was just talking about the Feeling Blue pod, the therapy session that we had to conduct on the Feeling Blue pod because of that 40-0 smackdown that we got. And Xander says free Saquon. Hashtag free
Yes.
Saquon. I completely agree. Um, moving on though, moving on to this is an interesting game to be honest with you. We both got the Cowboys in this game, but we both have different bets. For me personally, I'm not a believer in Zach Wilson. I don't think the Jets, if they leave it up to Zach Wilson, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs with Zach Wilson. But I do feel comfortable that they're going to stick around in this game at least, and not make it a blowout. And I think that's why I'm taking the Jets alternate spread at plus 9.5 for minus 115. I think that Zach Wilson will do just enough to keep him in this game, whether it's a garbage time TD or whatever. But I like him at an alt spread at plus 9.5 for that 115 minus 115 value. The Cowboys, this game is a game that the Cowboys should 100% win, dominate. I know that the Jets defense can hold their own. I get that. But when you look at the Jets' struggles, very similar to the Giants, weak O line, Parsons, Lawrence, everybody on that Cowboys D line is coming for Zach Wilson. And I just don't think that he has it in him to make decisions, that are smarter than what Daniel Jones displayed last week because Daniel Jones was flustered out there when he was on the run. I think it's going to be the same thing with Zach Wilson. But I think the Jets do just enough. So what do you got?
Yeah, I mean, for my prop bet, I'm gonna actually get into that first so that it can set up my argument. Um, I think the same thing that happens to Danny Dimes at one point is gonna happen to Wilson. Wilson needed more time. Nobody thought Rodgers would, snap his Achilles 4 plays in. That one offseason is not enough to fix Zach Wilson. He's gonna still make mistakes. This is the worst possible team they could play next, especially after what they did to the Giants. I think Pollard is insane. He doesn't need a turnover in plus territory to occur for him to score, but I think that still happens. He had 2 touchdowns last week, and they weren't even trying. He probably would have had 4 if the Giants were competitive. So I'm looking at that. Dak is, I think Dak's gonna have a tough time. So they're gonna rely on
Oh yeah.
Pollard. Pollard should not leave this game with below 25 carries, in my opinion. CD Lamb is gonna be against Sauce, but I think that they're gonna move CD around. Sauce wasn't following Diggs every play last game, so CD Lamb is gonna find whether it's a motion when they're in zone or whatever, but CD Lamb's gonna find a way to get away from him. He's gonna ball out. I just don't think the Jets are that. What's the spread? Do you know? Oh, I think you're muted. Oh, you're still muted. No, but regardless of the spread, like I just you can have as a Bronco fan, like you can have as good as defense as you want, but like if your quarterback is going to turn the ball over, especially behind an O line that hasn't been doing blocking well as we saw last week, I like that against the Cowboys and the Micah Parsons for sure.
Can you hear me?
Yep, you're good.
I think shout out Timothy here as well. He says Giants over the Cardinals. Shout out Timothy. Appreciate you watching the stream. Xander's asking if Dak threw a TD last week. I don't think he did. I don't think
Didn't
Dak
have
had
to.
any TDs last week. He didn't have to be honest with you. So no, I agree with what he said though. He said he doesn't believe in the Cowboys offense. I don't really believe in the Cowboys offense either. Like they don't impress me. I'm sorry. I know we lost 40-0, and it's sort of a ridiculous sort of take out of me being a Giants fan, but I mean that defense and special teams won in that game. I mean, obviously. So the offense didn't need to do anything. They didn't need to prove anything, but I think that the Cowboys offense, even going back to last year, is a little bit overrated. So um but no, I agree with you. Tony Pollard should get fed early and often, and a TD for him is definitely in the cards, I believe, as well. Like he's one guy that I don't like to bet anytime TD's in, but that's just my personal preference. Um, yeah, guys, I honestly, make sure you guys are hitting that thumbs up. Appreciate the support. Keep commenting your thoughts and opinions. Subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff. Tell your friends, tell your family. We're gonna be doing this weekly, so we'll give you all the prop bets that you need. Definitely feel free to take. Just don't blame us if they lose because we're not
But
professionals. Gamble
we're gonna
responsibly.
we're gonna be transparent. That's the thing. We're not just throwing these
Yes.
out here and moving on. We're gonna have this spreadsheet updated weekly.
Mm-hmm.
We're keeping track of everything, win or lose.
Yeah, yeah, we're gonna throw up the spreadsheets here in a second, and we're gonna aggregate that for you all to see. We're gonna be keeping week to week track of our units, plus and minus, and we're gonna be holding ourselves accountable as well. So, follow along and follow the journey. All right, this is the game that I wanted to talk about the most. I know you're passionate about this game the most. You got the Broncos and Commanders. What's the deal here? We're split. I like the Commanders. You like the Broncos. Give me the X's and O's, and
Oh,
then,
oh.
first of all, we got a lock of a bet. Even though you like the Broncos in this game, we have officially a lock of a bet. And you know what that means. Whenever we have a lock, we do this. Give me your lock, Josh. What's your lock?
You want it right now?
Give me it right now.
Here we go. Jahan Dotson. Over 44.5. Okay. Hear me out. Jacoby Myers last week, number 2 receiver, opposite of Devontae. 81 yards, I think six or eight catches, 2 tutties. Okay? 2 tutties. You know why? Because he was lined up against Damari Mathis. All right. Anybody watching in here, you could go up to your local park, see Damari Mathis on the field, and you would go for 50 yards on him. I promise you. So I assume Terry's going to be matched up with PS2. I would avoid him at all costs unless Matt Hartman. I'm actually playing him in fantasy, so I really hope he's not in here right now because he has him. Jahan Dotson, dude, he could easily he get 100 yards this game. You know why? Not only because of Damari Mathis, this Broncos pass rush, dude, non-existent. Randy Gregory's gone, by the way. He's out. Not that he was doing anything last week. I have Broncos in this game. I don't like it. If I was not a Broncos fan, I probably would pick the Commanders because Chase Young is coming back. Russ threw 37 times last week, 29 completions, 177 yards. Okay, that cannot happen. Like that D line of Washington. I'm saying it right now. I'm not gonna act, just because I'm a Broncos fan, I'm not gonna act dumb. That D line is gonna mess them up. Okay. The only way that the Broncos can hang on to this is playing consistent defense. Sam Howell's gonna throw an interception to Justin Simmons. I can promise you that. But getting back to like Jahan Dotson, dude, like it all comes down to the pass rush and Damari Mathis. I can promise you that pass rush is not getting there this week. I don't care how good the Washington or how bad the O line is for Washington. Jahan Dotson is getting his targets. He's getting those yards. And if honestly, like Commanders win this game and Broncos go 0-2, like I know some of you are seeing me for the first time, but this will be the last time you see me. I could not take that, dude. I could not handle that. Like, especially in the group chats, dude, I couldn't do it, man. I'm praying that Russ can. We're getting Jerry Judy back. Jerry Judy's gonna turn up if he doesn't blow his hamstring out. So I'm looking for Russ to get out of the pocket, throw downfield rather than these dink and ducks. Because if you look at the all 22, you see he's missing. He's not even looking for these deep corner routes that are open. He's just settling for these. Oh man, I'm gonna be mad if we lose. I'm
Well,
not
that's
scared,
I
Lonnie. I'm not scared, Lonnie. I'm just telling
we
you the
got a
fact.
little yeah. He said you can't disappear if the Commanders beat you guys. That'd be funny. What up, Stevie? Stevie's in the house. Let's ride. What up, Stevie?
Hey,
Stevie's
yo.
always in on my Met streams, but yeah, shout out Stevie, Stevie Mac 23.
Oh,
Appreciate you joining the stream as always. Lonnie said, "Don't be scared now, Josh. Don't be
you,
scared."
you want another lock? The under. The under. It's like 38.5 right now. This game is 2017 max. Max, bro.
Yeah, I can't see
Under.
this being a high scoring game.
Heck
Um,
no.
I got the Commanders to cover the plus 3.5 that they're at right now, minus 110. Honestly, I like the Commanders to win this game. I have it on the screen for a reason, but safe bet, good value, minus 110. Commanders cover plus 3.5. I think the only reason the Broncos might be favored in this game, to be honest with you, is because it's at Denver. So, um, I really can't see any other reasons why. I know the Commanders had a struggle week against Josh Dobbs and company in Arizona last week at home. I'm not really sure what that was about. Arizona honestly gave them a run for their money. Sam Howell figured it out late. Obviously pulled ahead 120-16, but these are just I don't know, man. The Broncos they wouldn't phase me as an opponent. They have been looking horrible. The injury bug has continued to plague them every single year, and this year's no different. Even before week one, just like during training camp, just injury. Every single day I saw a reporter saying injury, injury, injury. So give me the Commanders plus 3.5. What up, Josh?
Greg Dulcich, starting tight end, by the way, just went on IR as of today via Adam
Yeah,
Schefter. So
I
we
did
have
see
Adam
that.
Troutman as our starting catching tight end. This man cannot break a tackle from a Twinkie. Okay. So I hope that I don't see many tight end sets, man. Just get the receivers the ball and let's go.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. It's gonna be an interesting game. We got moving on, Dolphins, Patriots, and hold on. This is the only time that we agreed on a lock, and you know what that means. Lock alert. What's the lock, Josh? What's the lock? What you like in Dolphins Patriots?
Ooh, what's the lock? Let's just go back to the man who just put up two hundo on the Chargers' head, Tyreek. Again, sometimes you don't even have to think about stuff. Like, look, Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill, two players you don't even got to think about. Boom, over. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter the matchup. They're inhumane. Like you see people on like TikTok going like, well, Tyreek had these type of routes ran last week. He was fit. No, it doesn't matter. That literally does not matter. The guy's Tyreek Hill. Like Belichick can only do so much. You don't. This really isn't that deep. Like you don't have to make it deep. The guy's Tyreek Hill. I don't have to say anything else. That's it. That's it.
Tua 466 as well. Doesn't care what other people say about his passing game. Give me Tyreek over 80.5 yards as well at minus 114. This is a 2 unit play as well. Only have about two or three 2 unit plays this week. This is definitely one of them. Tyreek Hill. I think that he goes off as well. Doesn't really matter what route he runs. It could be a short route. Nobody's really catching him. He's a hard guy to bring down no matter what route he's running. And then he'll burn pretty much every single cornerback in the league, to be honest with you. And his stature just plays into his favor. He's one of the speediest guys in the league for a reason, and Tua can definitely deliver that deep bomb to him. So give me Tyreek Hill over. This was our predictions and our locks and our prop bets for every single game. We didn't do the Monday night games, and I want to kind of just like show the Monday night games some love. We'll go about it real quickly before we move on. But who do you like in both of these matchups? Obviously, we were on FanDuel, so we didn't really see anything that we liked for these Monday night games. Obviously, we're doing this on a Saturday night. What you got for Saints, Panthers, and Browns, Steelers? Let's start with the Saints, Panthers first. For me, I guess I'll start off. It's kind of a dud game. I'm gonna take the Panthers in this game, to be honest with you. Actually, I'm taking the Saints. Sorry. I'm gonna take the Saints in this game. I think Derek Carr. Maybe I'm not confident in Derek Carr at all, but these are two teams that I really could not care about. Like I could not care less about. Give me the Saints and what should be like maybe somewhat a close game.
I'm not watching this game.
Yeah, I'm not watching this game either.
Because like if I were to bet on it, I would be like so upset if it doesn't work out. Because dude, I took the Panthers simply because they're at home. Okay. If they were on the road, it's an easy Saints win because I think the Saints are better. But like a lot of times, like during the week in the NFL, you see a game, you're like, oh, that's probably, But there's plenty of surprises, and this is gonna be one of them. Bryce Young's gonna do just enough to get that done. His weapons aren't great, but like Miles Sanders, I'm just hoping he, can come alive. Saints played the Titans last. I mean, yeah, you can't. Yeah, Derrick Henry did all right, but I'm banking on Miles Sanders, getting like 80 yards and a tutty, like a 17-13 win. Like I'm not, you know,
Yeah. No, it's gonna be a low scoring game and it's gonna be a close game because I feel like that's what all the NFC South games are. And it's just boring football, to be honest with you. I don't like the play style of either teams, but moving on to Browns Steelers, it should be a little bit more exciting. I'm gonna be watching this game for sure. Browns really did impress in week one. I know the playing field was definitely into their advantage. It was a rainy game week one. They routed the Bengals. Steelers obviously got routed by the 49ers. Kenny Pickett didn't look too great. George Pickens was a little bit upset with his targets, I guess. It was a rough go for the Steelers. I think the Steelers are better than what they showed. But even that being said, I think I got the Browns in this matchup as well. And I don't know. I mean, Deshaun Watson is coming into his own. Getting settled, has that training camp under him. You got Amari Cooper there. Think he's going to be the first. He's trying to be the first Browns receiver in X amount of years to go back-to-back seasons with 1,000+ yards. So we'll see if he gets there. He's on one of my fantasy teams as well. Um, Give me the Browns in this game. I think the Steelers start off 0-2. But something about the Steelers, I feel like that is an organization that's just like really gritty, and they'll eventually find their way to close to 500 at the end of the season. But I think they start off 0-2.
So Amari Cooper is questionable with a groin. I don't think he's going to play. If that changes your
Interesting.
opinion,
It doesn't, but
same.
regardless,
So I think Chubb is going to Chubb. Um, I think he had 4 receptions last week. He's going to be in the reception game as long as they can just not let T.J. Watt take this game over, control the ground game. They have the better overall team. Myles Garrett is going to be the X factor, I believe. Kenny Pickett did not, he looked like a rookie last week, man. Especially
yeah.
against, I mean, that 49ers team is disgusting, but like at some point you got to put up some points, my man, especially in garbage time. So I think the Browns are going to run over them. Not like a blowout. I'm just saying like run over. Like they're going to just pound the rock. I think it's like a
Dominate the trenches. Yeah.
think it's like a 24 like 20, 27, 23 game. Um
Yep.
even with Amari Cooper out, like I could see Nick Chubb scoring twice. I'll
Yep.
probably like that would probably be my bet, like a touchdown from him. But like I don't the
I know you
Steelers
love those two TD
bro.
props.
I love
Don't
those,
even
man.
play.
Oh, those are so awesome if you hit it. It's like
This man,
baseball, it's like baseball home runs, except like better,
yeah.
but
This man loves this. He'll parlay. You're a sicko. You'll parlay a two TD score like three times over. I'm just like, are you serious? Like, this is not hitting. But anyways,
yeah.
those are our predictions. This is our aggregated list right here. You have our aggregated list with our units. We have each and every single one of our prop bets for each game written down, our units placed, and we're going to keep track of the results. Um, this is how we're going to do it every single week. We're going to get on here, hold ourselves accountable, provide the best betting content that you can probably have, make some money along with us, and we're going to keep track of it. And I think this is the basis of why we wanted to start this show. Obviously, Josh, you were a hell of a lot bigger of a better than I am, but I dabble here and there. This is a fun little concept to me, so definitely interested in doing this weekly, and this is what's going to be happening. And this is what we got. We're keeping Excel spreadsheets on the
One
weekends. So
one
um,
thing really quick. Um Obviously we don't expect anybody in here to like actually tail anything this week cuz you know, it's the first week, you know what I mean? Although we are going to show my week 1 bets cuz like I mean, shoot, would I come in here and look at this guy with glasses and a hat on and be like, yeah, he's right. But the more the more transparent we are and like after each week, what you see, what we cover and everything, like if you see a consistent, oh, he's up, he's up, he's up, he's up. That's when you start to dive in. You don't have to, trust me, trust Chris. You make that decision by
definitely
yourself.
don't trust my bets. I'm gonna say that right now. Don't trust my bets. Josh, maybe you can start a career as a parlay builder, whatever you want to do, a little better. But
Uh,
I don't trust my bets. I'll go on record for that. But yeah, you're channeling a little bit of the Colorado State head coach right now, calling you out, talking to grown-ups wearing your hat and sunglasses. Mama ain't teaching no better.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll get into that. Trust me on that one. All right, what's my week one looking like?
Um, This is your week one performance right here. We have it broken down. You ended up in the green plus 2.5 units. Break down what you bet. I see a lot of anytime TDs. You obviously took a little bit of a different philosophy this week, in week two. So break down your bets. Obviously, I think they're pretty self-explanatory. Either the guy scores a touchdown or not. But anything that you want to point out here for the viewers, for your overall winnings at 2.5 units at the end.
Yeah, so I mean, at first glance you may see a bit of red, but the negative 110s you can count. I was 6-2 on that. Um, that was kind of just like first week. I'm just gonna try to start off with a bang, get some plus 250s in there. Obviously, like this week and going on, I'm gonna be a little more balanced out. But you could see, I think I hit on 4 anytime tutties, and I missed down 7. 4 and 7 on that. I'll take that any day. Especially if you're straight betting it, not parlaying it, like I tend to mess up and do because I'm a greedy bastard. Um, but you can see, like I like uh the negative 110s. I'm always from now on. I'm always straight betting.
Yep.
If I really like you're gonna see in our parlay that we have, if I really like somebody, I'm gonna straight bet them, and then I'm gonna put their alt yards in a parlay, or I'll just straight bet the alt yards if I really like it. But you never, in my opinion, never really want to think about like, oh, I really like Zay Flowers, Chris Olave, and then put them together. Like that's not great, and I'm being very hypocritical because like I did some of that last week, but luckily I learned from that. So just like
This
start
is
out with
Josh's this is Josh's betting 101 guide.
just
Someone take some notes.
start
Someone clip this.
start out with straight betting, especially when you're trying to build stuff up. You know what I mean? Like it's all eye candy, like the parlays and stuff. You want to start with straight betting because the worst thing ever is when you hit 3 out of 4 and you get nothing out of it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And
Yeah.
I learned that the hard way last week. It was week one. I was like, screw it. But you know, I'm
That's
gonna
why That's
huh.
why I like these straight bets that we're doing for these props in these games because like anybody listening like can just go pick out one or two that we're putting down and just be like, hey, toss like whatever amount of units you're on, toss a unit and a half on it, and then go about it that way. Obviously, you'll see in our parlays, me and Josh take a very different philosophy on our parlays. I know that Josh, you build a variety of parlays, but the two that we have on this next screen that we're going to show the viewers here, a little bit of a different philosophy. But no, I definitely agree. The prop bets, the straight bets are the way to go, especially if you get that value between minus 110 and minus 120. That's always great value for a return. And obviously, you're just hoping that you're in the green. You were in the green last week, and that's a good job. Plus 2.5 for you, week one. We'll see how week two shakes out. We'll come back on here and do a little bit of review of what we saw last week. Um, and we'll go ahead and do it that way. So moving on, always bet responsibly, please. Always bet responsibly. These are our locked on bonus parlays. Josh, start us off. You're at a nice plus 7,300 right there. I know you love the yardage, the alt yardage. I took a little bit of a different route. Explain the philosophy here.
Okay, so first of all, don't take this right now this week. Um, this is kind of me putting my uh stuff on the table. Um, but here's what I do. I love 3-piece alt yards parlays. I probably I hit a couple last year. Big one, like big odds last year. Basically, if I like a player a lot, I'm gonna alt yard him. So I'm not gonna do 5 dudes I like and just do their, regular yardage together because that's first of all, you need 5 different players to do that, right? So why wouldn't you like DJ Moore at like 40, right? He's 44 and a half or 43 and a half. Okay, well, if
Yeah.
you think he's gonna maybe catch one more pass for like or just get a wide open, busted coverage or whatever, why not bump that to 60? I'm bumping up to 80. Um, I like playing the risk. I'm obviously gonna put like $5 on it, if that. Um, and then Jamar Chase, like it's kind of all about like if I have a feeling this if I have a feeling a player is gonna go off, I just alt their yards. I alt their yards every time. Um,
Plus 125 is nuts, though.
it
It's
is,
nuts.
but Justin Jefferson just had 150 in back-to-back games, and Jamar Chase is definitely a top 3 receiver with a good quarterback. Now, Jahan Dotson, obviously, that's he can easily get that. Jacoby Myers got 80 last week. So, um, it's a lot better, in my opinion, to stick with yards, whether it's these alt yards or they're straight up yards, as opposed to touchdowns. I would, in my opinion, like 75% of your bets should be yardage as opposed to touchdowns. Because the
Oh, yeah, easy.
worst thing ever is when like your dude is your dude's about to get a touchdown and he gets held and they don't call it or something. You know what I mean? Like, or
So what
he just
happened to
straight up
Justin
runs.
Jefferson last week?
Yeah, and the problem with that is these guys are going to get a lot of attention in the red zone, which is going to open up the secondary guys in the red zone, and they're going to be wide open. Like it happened with KJ Osborne last Thursday. Um, so, anyways, I this isn't the only parlay I'm going to make. I'm obviously going to make another one that's like way lower odds, like Chris, which is actually still decently high odds. But like, I love just throwing out one of these. I'm not gonna have this as my parlay every week. This is just like a little one time. If it hits, this show is gonna go boom if it hits. And I'm just kind of
Is it
trying to
clip
put my
worthy?
balls on the table for the first episode. You know what I mean?
No, I feel that. I went a different route than you. I went a little bit more logistics. Obviously, I said it before. I said it with my boy Matt
I love
on
this
Sunny
one.
Days Media. Find that on my YouTube. Find that on his YouTube as well. Sunny Days Media 516, I think is his YouTube as well. I like the Bears this week against the Buccaneers straight up. And I feel comfortable taking the Bears money line. I think it's a bounce back week for them. And I also said in this live stream that we just did when I took Darren Waller's over on yardage, I really think the Giants are due for a bounce back, especially offensively. So I'm thinking Saquon only got 12 carries last week. I'm thinking he gets upwards of 20 this week. Fingers crossed, right? And I think he finds the end zone. So I think parlaying those two are no brainers. Romeo Dobbs had obviously his yardage wasn't there last week. I think the field opens up for him this week. He got 2 touchdowns last week, but it seems like Jordan Love, Romeo Dobbs is one of his favorite targets. Even going back to preseason, I've been watching some Packers football, and that Jordan Love to Romeo Dobbs connection seems really real. And then the Bills over the Raiders, I feel comfortable with a -2.5 alt spread for the Bills. Parlay those together. I really don't think any of these are really out of the blue. And I don't think that these are far stretched. So parlay those together, nice little plus 919 odds. I take that all day. So if you're tailing, like I said, tail responsibly. Josh is a little bit of a different philosophy. I don't really know if Josh has a philosophy on his, but he just tried to explain it to you. But those are our little bonus parlays. We'll come back and revisit these next week as well when we inevitably hop on our second live stream next week on Locked On Locks, and we'll see what we got. We'll see how these fare. Move on. Let's talk to some college football before we hop off out of here in about the next 20 minutes or so. Let's talk about what we saw today in the early slate, obviously, and then we'll get into the latter game that we saw. First and foremost, Kansas State ranked 15. They go down today in a wild game. Mizzou ends up upsetting them 30-27. Josh, any games on here that you want to sort of talk about? I know you had a little bit of a two-leg parlay with Penn State covering the spread, which they did. They rolled past Illinois today, 30-13. What did you see out of the early slates today?
Yeah, so I had Missouri Kansas over 47.5 parlayed with Penn State minus 14.5. That hit pretty convincingly until Illinois they were about to get a backdoor cover last drive. It was 30-13. They got to like the 25-yard line and
Mm.
they could have had a field goal or a touchdown. Luckily that didn't happen. But I saw that Missouri kick live cold-blooded. They had a, delay of game right before that, unacceptable. I don't know if you saw it live. They were setting up for a
I did
56-yard
not.
field goal, and they were huddled up, and there was, like, 5 seconds on the play clock before they finally realized they had no timeouts. They had to take a delay of game to make it 61 yards,
Mm.
and then the kicker nailed it. Let's see, that you can definitely go on that Florida State game. Let me see. Ohio State, they're looking good, man. I mean, I'm an Ohio State fan as well. I'm on the bandwagon for Colorado. I'm not gonna act like I've been a fan. Like I'm definitely have not been a fan. I'm on the bandwagon though. That's all that
Deion
matters.
Sanders
I'm
bandwagon.
jumping on. Um, Kyle McCord was not looking great the first like 3 weeks. He really opened up his arm. Finally figured out that Marvin Harrison is going to be a top 5 pick. Got him going. Alabama, what is going on? 33.5 point spread. Shout out Jesse. That's
Oh
not
my
great.
goodness.
That's not great.
No.
That's not as you said. That's not good. They gotta get it together. Saban is not looking good, especially going through all 3 quarterbacks that game. That is not a good look. Let's see. I don't know who they're gonna come out with next week, and I'll go with Georgia. At the end of the day, they got it done. They were at home, which isn't great, but a win is a win for them, especially when they're number one. They're not gonna drop out of like top 5, obviously. So those are my
Yeah.
thoughts. I know you want to talk about that Boston College game though.
That Boston College game was crazy. Boston College really just did themselves in with the penalties. They gave up 18 penalties for 182 total yards. That is unacceptable. And they only lost by 2, so Florida State definitely only beating Boston College by 2 points given that factor. They're definitely not going to stay in that number 3 spot. I want to see how far the Florida State drops, but that game was sloppy. Literally just no discipline on the defensive side of the ball for Boston College. Um, and I mean Florida State as well just did not look like the number 3 team in the country at all. So that was ugly. Um, Obviously LSU just rolled past Mississippi State. Alabama needs to figure out their quarterback situation. You're 100% right. They went through all 3. It's still like Saban has a decision to make going into next week. Interested to see what that decision is going to be, but Notre Dame coming up, I think, got a big game. Notre Dame versus Ohio State. I don't see a way that Ohio State loses that, but you never know. I think Notre Dame's 9, right? So it's gonna be a 6 versus 9 matchup if all things stay the same. Duke though, shout out Duke, 3-0, ranked 21, football school as Daniel Jones likes to say.
Ha,
Turning their football program around. So that Duke QB is a good story. So
right.
he's a dog. So yeah, I just want to shout out Duke real quick as well on the football side of things. But no, it's a good matchup. Like I said, I don't get too much into college football myself personally. I think this year I've started to expand my horizons into college football. That's why I wanted to talk about it today in conjunction with the NFL slate. But yeah, I'm a big NFL guy. Always will be an NFL guy over college football. Didn't go to a college where there was a football program, so um, don't really have anyone to root for there. But yeah, it was a good slate. Obviously, some of these top 10 teams need to get it together. I mean, Alabama, I'm looking at you. Georgia started off slow against Spencer Rattler and USC. So, that's going to be something to monitor. I think Georgia probably stays in that number 1 spot. We'll see, but right now, as we speak, right now Tennessee's down 26-7 to Florida.
No,
So yeah,
no.
so that's going on right now. So let's close out because I know you want to have a talking point on little
Oh, whoa,
Colorado State action here. I know you're on
whoa,
the wrong side of things
whoa. What's
here.
that about? What's that about, man? What's going on
I
here,
had to put
man?
myself
Let
I
me
had
let
to
me
put
get up.
myself in the winner's
Let me
circle.
get over here, man. Ooh, oh, it didn't work. You want me to start this
Xander
off or
says he
what?
wants to hear the Colorado takes. Hear the Colorado takes.
Yeah. First of all, can I get my freaking lock alert real quick? Is that possible?
Oh,
Let me.
lock
What?
alert, lock alert, lock alert. It's the lock. Let's hear the lock.
Colorado minus 23.5. If it's still 23.5 or whatever it is right now, take it. All right, take it. All right, it's personal. Okay? It's personal. All right. This dude, Shador Sanders, gonna throw for 400 yards. Travis Hunter's gonna get a pick. He's gonna get a tutty because he plays both sides of the ball. Dylan Edwards is gonna get a little screen pass to the crib. and it's going to be a rout. Now, having said that, Shador Sanders is going to, I think he's going to start off slow because last week against Nebraska, it was 0-0 going into half, I think, or maybe like 3-0, 3-3, maybe. Nebraska was throwing a couple of looks at him. They would show like a cover 3, cover 2, and then they would back out of it. Whether it goes, they'll go from like cover 2, cover 3, cover 3, cover 1. So they were throwing him off. He was having a tough time at first reading the defense. I could see the same thing happening with Colorado State, especially with their coach. Talking that talk. Um, I believe that Colorado State's going to throw out those false looks to try to throw them off at first. So I could see the first quarter being a little iffy, but then they're going to explode, in my opinion. Colorado State's like half, maybe a quarter of what Nebraska is as a football team in an organization. Colorado beat Nebraska by 22, bro. Okay. If this is in fact a trap by Vegas, I'll get back on here and I'll admit it, and I'll be so embarrassed. But like, Dion's different, bro. Like Coach Prime is different, bro. He's different.
You're
And
talking
he's
about
not
a trap. You're talking about a trap in terms of the spread, not
spread.
Colorado State finding
Hell
a
no.
way somehow to win this
Spread.
game.
Spread. Because dude, everything this weekend has been about Colorado. Colorado. They got game day. They got game day and big noon. I don't know the last time a game has gotten both.
2001, I believe. That's what they
Dude,
said.
the spread has been 23.5 the whole weekend. It hasn't moved. How?
Yeah.
I guarantee you it seems like 95% of the bets are on Colorado. I guarantee that's what the stat's going to come out with. So I'm kind of like, that's the reason I'm nervous about it. Is like what, like I also
It's a little fishy. It's a little fishy.
but if you think it's that fishy, then I would go with the over, because the only way that the Colorado State covers is if they score enough.
Yeah.
Colorado's going to score, dude. So like maybe Vegas thinks I think the over is like 64, maybe 68, maybe I don't know,
I personally don't know.
but if you think it's a trap, then you could go over to the over. But dude, Colorado State just lost 50-24 at home against Washington State last week.
Yeah.
That's 26 points, by the way, if you can't do math like me. So, dude, give me the mother trucking buffs, bro.
Yeah. You know me, I don't like to bet college football spreads. This is if I were to bet one though, this would probably be it. But like you said, there is something to say for the spread not moving whatsoever. Obviously, all the hype surrounding Colorado this week, game day being there, could be a little bit of a trap in terms of the spread. I don't know. I think, yeah, that Colorado State coach, he messed up. He messed up big time. And not only did he mess up for himself in terms of the whole situation, but I mean, just to put your players and your program under that kind of pressure now, when you know you're not built like that in comparison to Colorado, is something that you just don't do as a head coach, to be honest with you. When you're leading a young group of guys, and obviously you know you're undermatched, they know they're undermatched, or overmatched, I should say. So yeah, it's kind of it was kind of crazy. Um, but yeah, man, I mean, Coach Sanders got a following there now, Colorado, turned that program around. They're already 2-0, ranked. They won 2 games in their last 15 matchups. And they won before, obviously, the 2-0 start this year. They were a horrid program. And Deion Sanders literally turned that whole program around. So shout out him, doing great things there. I will tune into this game. I'm not betting on this game because I could care less about this game, to be honest with you.
Yup.
I am following Colorado football as well, but I have no interest in betting there. But should be exciting just to see the hype that's there in Colorado now, and just obviously the fuel that the Colorado State coach added onto the fire. I think Shadur Sanders said that all respect is lost now. And he's talking about his father and that nature, talking about Deion Sanders always wearing some sunglasses and a hat when he's talking to grown-ups. I don't know. I think that quote was kind of ridiculous as well. I'm not sure why you would say that. But funny enough, Deion Sanders thereafter got his whole team a pair of sunglasses. So that's a boss move right there. But yeah, anything else on this, or are we wrapping this thing up? Because I got nothing
Nope.
else.
But
You have
I said all that. I am betting on it. Okay, don't worry. I am betting on it. I'm not just saying it. I am betting on it. All right. Yeah,
there you
let's
go,
go Bucks.
Josh.
Let's
He
go.
did lock it. Whenever we say lock, whenever we have the lock the lock alert, you know that it's legit. So lock alert went off. Colorado spread it is. We're trusting you. Um, should be an interesting end to the night, as Xander says. Yeah, I 100% agree. We'll see what happens there. But yeah, guys, this was episode 1 of Locked On Locks. Definitely appreciate it. First debut episode out. Appreciate everybody tuning in, commenting, obviously giving our week 2 NFL predictions, some prop bets to go along with each game. Obviously, an added bonus parlay. Josh is a little bit out there. Tail cautiously. Mine a little bit more feasible. And like I said, I mean, who's that's not to say I won't throw a ridiculous parlay out there for a couple bucks every here and there, but I like to keep it realistic, especially for putting it on here for sure. I don't want to lead anybody too astray, but keeping track of units, responsible gambling, all that good stuff. Good day of college football. Getting me ready for the NFL day tomorrow. I'll be watching football all day long. That's how I'll be spending my Sunday. So I'm sure you will as well, Josh.
Oh yeah.
Commanders, Broncos. I know you Broncos took a tough L against the Raiders week 1. Hopefully they bounce back. We'll see. They'll help my Giants in terms of the standings, and hopefully my Giants take care of business themselves. As for everything else, we appreciate you tuning in. Like I said, if you're tuning in here, hit that thumbs up. Definitely appreciate the support in the show. Hit that subscribe button, bottom right hand corner. This was the Locked On Locks LOL show. Follow me on X and Instagram at CPNY Sports. You know where to find me. Same thing as my YouTube handle. And Josh is on X as well at DJ Denver Josh. Last remarks, last words. Here, Josh, out of you.
Go Buffs. That's it. That's
That's
it.
it. Go Buffs.
We'll see
Shout out
you next
Xander.
Saturday,
Appreciate you tuning
baby.
in. He says great episode. Like I said, we'll be back next week, presumably. Hopefully I'm feeling a little bit better. Sorry if I sounded sniffly, like I said. Still feeling a little under the weather. Football's getting me through. So until next time, guys, we'll see y'all later.